Hello, and welcome back to another inspiring episode of the Achieving Unity Success Formula weekly podcast, where we turn chaos into connection and purpose into action. I am your host, Mark Intrican, founder of the Achieving Unity Success Formula, dedicated to improving lives by encouraging, inspiring, and including others. Today, we welcome Mila Johansen, a skilled author, speaker, and writing coach dedicated to making the writing and self-publishing process easier for people of all ages. Yes, that includes you and me. Mila's unique short book, her concepts helping aspiring authors break down that process, break it down into manageable steps, making it easy and accessible for each of us to share our stories and our expertise. With over 20 years of experience, she's teaching everything from creative writing to public speaking, along with 22 plays and musicals to her name. Mila brings a wealth of knowledge and a passionate spirit to help writers overcome challenges, ones like perfection and over editing that I need, and even the imposter syndrome. But before we get into this, let's introduce my company, Reality Focused Dynamics, where it all started. As you see on the slide, I have a gift for you. And I hope you'll go out there and read this book. It's just a guide for ending anger, hate, and prejudice. Those things that are frustration and disconnection and prejudgment. But get your free Achieving Unity guide now by using the QR code on the bottom left, or connect with me through my blog with the QR code on the bottom right. Let's connect and talk, continuing to build unity with all of us. The Achieving Unity Success Formula, thank you all so much. We just passed our first year. Today with Mila, we're on weekly podcast. 4 p.m. Eastern time each and every week. Love to have you here. Learn, build, grow together. We can do it, again, together in unity. There is our wonderful logo. It is the basis for what we have. Because as you can see the logo on the slide, it truly reflects the core, the absolute core of what we do and how we stand firm. Notice how focused sits right in the middle, right at that core. This is because everything that we explore, from reality-focused dynamics to success-focused solutions, they all center around clear, intentional direction. In fact, the whole concept of focus is so core to us that it's even reflected in our business phone number, 303-362-8733, which spells 303 focused on your phone pad. Check it out. Give us a call. We believe that by being truly focused on what matters, we can create meaningful change and achieve lasting unity. So as I mentioned, reality-focused dynamics, success-focused solutions. We have proven compassionate strategies that turn conflict into lasting harmony. This occurs at home, at work, and in every relationship that matters. Are you ever frustrated by tension or arguments? Our 7-step roadmap, our formula, gives you the tools to move from conflict to collaboration quickly and confidently. Have you ever craved stronger trust, respect, connection? Discover communication tactics that build that respect, that repair relationships, and the ones that unify teams. and families alike. We can transform conflict into connection together by achieving unity. Where is unity? What does it do? Unity inspires homes. Unity shapes societies. Much more than the battles and the wars that we get into. By unity, we can transform workplaces and around the world. We help you turn that frustration into understanding. Have you ever been frustrated and sometimes you just want to say, what the frustration? That may not be the words you use, the frustration, but the point's the same. We can find value in our actions instead of reaching or reacting in anger or frustration. We show that anger truly holds no value. Anger is just actions not gaining effective results, right? A-N-G-E-R, anger, actions not gaining effective results. Life happens, and it happens in every relationship, from personal to professional, from parenting time to partnerships, in the boardroom, in the bedroom, and every room in between. We show you how to embrace those challenges and encourage a more inspired and inclusive future. EII. Please go out to my blog and you'll see more of the articles. I have 10 articles that talk about that. Encouraging, inspiring, and including others. Love to hear some feedback from you. We can have one vision, one goal, and that is achieving unity in every area of life. What's our call to action? Well, first thing we can do is ditch the drama. Ditch that drama and get stuff done. We'll show you how to turn your life from what may seem like a dumpster fire at times to a well-oiled machine. Achieving unity, the path to stronger relationships, inspired leadership, and lasting change. We help you in coaching, consulting, with our courses, and my keynote speeches. Contact us today. Go to markintrican.com, realityfocus.com, realityfocusdynamics.com, or again, call us at 303-FOCUSED, 303-362-8733. I am looking forward to talking with you. And as we mentioned, this podcast comes on every week. We have some exciting speakers, podcast guests. One today, I think you're all going to be excited about. But next week, we have Michael Davis, the Storytelling Power Trio. How many of us can tell stories? How many of us can truly communicate through those stories? Come back next week. We'll hear Michael Davis talk to us about that. That's on September 24th. The following week, first Wednesday in October, Wendy Vaughn will be here. Heart-centered coaching. We all need coaches. It's not just for sports teams. It's also for everyday life. Now, when you have that heart-centered coaching, it's easier to take on these things each and every day. Then we have Dr. Ying. Do you know that the foods that we eat, impact our attitudes and our behavior? What did you have for lunch today? How is it impacting you now? What about breakfast, dinner? How well did you sleep? Dr. Ying will be here on October 8th. Then Timothy Stutz, helping moms and dads raise brilliant, healthy, happy, and empowered children. And yes, it is possible. We can do that. Even amongst the world today and all the negativity that we see out there, people finding wrong all the time, Timothy will be here to help us learn more and build better in raising our children. Then, October 22nd, Bear Pascal will be here. Nothing more caring or masculine than parenting your child or children. A lot of people for too many cultures, too many generations have thought about parenting a child. Well, that's the moms, that's their opportunity. And it's not. The best parent is both parents. I work on that and I speak on that. Bear Pascoe is going to come in here and talk to us about it and show how nothing is more caring or masculine than parenting our children. But today, special treat. I am so excited. I've talked to her a few times on the phone. A wonderful person. This is Mila Johansen about self-publishing is as easy as 1, 2, 3 for anyone at any age. Mila Johansen is an author, a writing coach, and international speaker. Mila is dedicated to helping people bring their stories to life and share them with the world. I bet you have a lot of things in your life that other people could benefit from. With decades of experience in writing, publishing, and teaching, Mila empowers aspiring authors, even before they realize that they are or can be an author, to confidently publish their books and use them as powerful tools for influence and opportunity. Your spouse would be proud, your children would be proud, all of your family, friends, neighbors, the community. Through Mila's workshops, coaching, and programs like Write Your Short Book in a Day and Pen to Published, Mila equips audiences with strategic ways to write, practical strategies to write, publish, and position themselves as experts. Her work blends inspiration with actionable steps, proving that everyone has a book within them that's waiting to be shared. Mila's mission is to make publishing accessible to all of us, you and I. Elevate voices that need to be heard, people that are wanting to hear from you, and transform those stories into platforms that educate, inspire, and connect communities. Her domain URL is at the bottom right, www.milajohansen.com. So after the meeting, or even right now, go out there and grab the site, get on it, get connected with her, get to talk with her. But until then, please help me welcome Mila Johansen.
Yay. Hi, thank you.
Hey. Mila, thank you so much for being here. It's awesome and a privilege, and I'm honored to have you here today.
Well, I am honored to be asked, and we got a lot of good, fun things to share. And everyone's a writer, whether they know it or not.
I think you say so much right there, but I agree with you because there's so many people even listening today, whether they're here live or if they're listening to us, the recorded version, there's something in each of us that I think more people need to know and learn. And through you, I'm hoping we can all, including myself, take this knowledge that you're going to share with us and take it to that next level. Because I know you have such a diverse background from teaching to playwriting to authoring. Can you give us a moment, just kind of introduce yourself and tell us what was that spark that first led you into this world of writing and publishing?
Oh, well, I have a funny story when I was a kid, and behind me are all the plays and musicals I've written that we've done in a big children's theater company that I've done. And I must say, I use the F word too. And I would say, okay, what's the F word? And they'd all gasp, and the parents would gasp. I go, focus, because we're going on stage doing
Focus.
big shows. So you could use that too, of course. But anyway, I thought
I
that was
like
funny you
that.
said that. I thought I'd bring that up. But when I was really young, at like 8 years old, I went and saw the first Mary Poppins with Julie Andrews, which really dates me, right? And then I went
Wow.
into, I came home and I was so inspired. I wanted to go to that pretty land that they jumped into the chalk drawings. And I shut my door and I drew what I thought were chalk drawings, probably crayons. And they weren't very good because I can't even draw stick people now. And so I closed my
Either.
eyes and I wished and wished and I jumped into the paintings or the whatever.
You just went on mute.
Oh, how have I been
There you
muted
go.
the whole time?
No, we heard you.
Oh,
You just started the story and then all of a sudden it went to mute.
that's so
So,
funny. I wonder
but
why.
the last 10
Anyway,
seconds.
so I did the truck drawings and I closed my eyes and I tried to jump in thinking it would take me to the land of merry-go-rounds, flowers, and penguins, and it didn't. And I had grown up really poor where we didn't even have dinner. Sometimes I didn't have lunch at school. And so, but I thought this would take me there, and then so what happened was I tried 8 times and it didn't work. So I said, "Well, if I can't go to the magical land that way, maybe I could write a book like Nancy Drew or all the Oz books that my mother had read me." And so I I started writing a book and I wrote a page and a half and I quit because I was 8. But that was my magical thought because, even though we didn't have dinner and I didn't have lunch, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me because later on I married an organic farmer and have had all the food I could ever want. So, but that's what happened to me. And then when I was 18, my mother said to me one day, she said, "Mila, um, you I know you've always wanted to be a writer. Why don't you write one sentence a day for a month?" And I went, "Well, I could write one sentence a day for a month, but you can't, Mark, because it's like potato chips and you have to write more." And so I would write a page and a half, 2 pages. And by the end of the month, I was a writer, and now I trick everyone I work into it because the word on the street with writer in the writing community right now is 20 minutes a day is all we ask. And I say even 5 minutes a day can add up to a book because Toni Morrison, the great novelist, she said she only had 15 minutes a day when she started her first novel because of work and raising kids. And the rest is history.
That's I listen to you and it just makes me excited. But Mila, I tell you, I have a book. It's called A Book of Excuses Why I'm Not Writing.
I know that book. I'm well familiar with it. Yes.
Yes, it's the book of procrastination. It's big. It's quite large. How do we do that? Because again, I write articles. You read my newsletter. I have over 100 articles out on my website. I have videos. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are similar to me. How do we take that next step? How do we put that into action? Make that book come alive, make that first page, those first 20 days of writing that sentence a day. How do we quit slipping and put that our vehicle into gear?
Well, I think if you think, 20 minutes a day, a small thing, we're not doing the big 2-hour thing anymore. You can. But a lot of people, after they work with me, they go, "You tricked me, Mila. Now I'm writing an hour a day, 2 hours a day because they can't stop." And so I did just what my mother did, right? She was a teacher, I come from a family of teachers. And so the main thing is put your pen on paper, fingers on keyboard, and just start. And don't think about editing or perfection. Barbara Kingsolver, the great novelist, says, "Give yourself permission to write a bad book and then work on it until it's a good book." And what she means is blather it down. And I teach this one class, write your short book in a day. And this is a 70-page book, but the shortest book you can put on Amazon with a little bit of a spine is 36 pages, and anyone can write a 36-page book in a day or two, work on it, get it edited. We don't want more bad books, and get it up on Amazon, published in a week or two. And what people don't realize is that Amazon is completely free to publish on, and they give us so many attributes like a web page, samples, all these things. And so you don't want to wait. You want to just start writing. And like you and I were talking about one time that, and I taught classes like this, maybe you have a lot of material already written, like your newsletters. And I had one woman, she was became a client of mine, and she had 500 beautifully written blogs. And she'd been doing them
Wow.
for years and years. And I said, "Whoa, girl, let's put those into books." We thought it'd be like 5 books. So we started putting them into books, and it turned out it's gonna be like 20 books. But it's real good wisdom about women's hygiene and women's, stuff. And so we started putting them into books. And I said, "Well, what you can do is make the same cover and then just do it a different color for each book." So now she has a series, and series are what sell. But let's say you're doing these podcasts. You could make a book out of the transcripts from the podcast. I had another woman who had a beautiful paper written in college, a master's thesis. And I said, "Well," and we were meeting at the library because usually I work with people all over US and Canada and the world, but she lived in my neighborhood. And we met at the library and I taught her how to get on KDP. KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, and that's Amazon's publishing arm for all the genres, paperback, hardcover, audio, everything. And we went in, she joined, and we went and they have templates once you join. And we took a 6x9 template, 6x9 industry standard, and we copied her book, dumped it into the template, and in 5 minutes she had a book. She would have to go in and edit a little more,
Wow.
but that's what you
Okay.
do, like with your papers and your blog, your newsletters. Join
Mhm.
KDP, everybody, today, and I'll give you a
Is
warning
it
about what is in it.
kdp.com? KDP dot.
Yeah, KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. It's now here's the secret. But what you do, this is really important. You have your Prime account, that's your Amazon account, right? And then you'll
Mhm.
go into a completely different website called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. They're two
Okay.
complete different websites, but they have the same password.
Wow. Okay. But can I, as you mentioned, have multiple Amazon accounts? I can go into KDP through one or the other, or do
Here's
I
the
need to go to
warning. Here's
KDP
the warning.
separate?
Yeah, we've had some trouble with a couple of my clients. Is that you want to use your main Prime account and you want to use your main email.
Mhm.
And the reason is you're going to be getting lots of little notices. Oh, your book's ready. Oh, you need to click here. Oh, you need to buy this, because you can buy
Mhm.
your books at cost. But you want to have your main email, your main Prime, and then go to KDP and join through that. I had a couple people who thought they should make a different email and they didn't ask me. They got nixed out of KDP and we're having trouble getting them back in. So this is a warning, is that you want to use
Mhm.
your main email with your main Prime and then go over here and start KDP. And then what they're going to ask you for is um, payment records because they want to know where to pay you. And even if you're not going to do a book for a year, which I suggest you join now so you can get the templates and the tutorials. But even if you're not going to join, do your book for a year, a mentor taught me early on to go ahead and join so you can get all the attributes from there. And then, but the main thing is be careful which email and which everything you use. And then later on, you're going to be able to get samples. So you get a sample before your book arrives. And that really helps you see, oh, how's my book looking? And I often have clients do it when the book's half done so they get excited. Where's my page number? Where's my margins? And margins are really important that we leave a good gutter. And so yeah, you can do all of this right there on KDP. And then I say, open 10 books on your bookshelf or at the library or a bookstore and look at what you like what chapter list do you like? That's a chapter list. Where do you want your page
Okay.
number? Do you want it in the middle, on the corner? Just see what you like on other people's books and copy them.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, one of the things you were talking about there, Mila, was series. You talk about writing a series is where, did you say that's where the money is? What are you saying?
Especially like, well, okay, this is interesting, but most of us are writing, in this world, our business book to show expertise. Like, I give this away. I garnered 7,000 emails by giving this away when I speak on podcasts or summits, which I do 1 to 4 times a week. And I've been doing that for the last 5 years. And so a lot of the organizers say, wow, Mila, you got more emails than anyone else because I gave away an entire book, a PDF of it. And so we do that. But so right now there's a pie. Here's your pie. In the pie, like it's a circle, right? And about that much is romance, and about this much is mystery, and this little sliver down here is not is nonfiction, how-to books that but they still sell, and they're really good to use as a flag. They're really good to show people your expertise. Whenever someone reads my book or I speak, they realize I'm the expert, and I usually get a client almost every time I speak, because and I make it really affordable. I make it easy for people to work with me, and we get the job done. I just helped 6 people publish their books in the last 8 weeks.
That's amazing. Wow. Congratulations on all the work that you're doing. And I do have your 101 surprising tips that I downloaded to promote your book. And that's free to everyone, right?
Yes. Yes, and this book, even 70 pages, I couldn't stop at 36 on my own class. I wrote this in Write Your Short Book in a Day. But the thing is, it barely covers don't let it blow your mind, do one thing at a time, but it does barely cover the surface. Now, here's the secret. I'm using this book as the outline for my longer book, The Bible of Self-Publishing, which will have every detail in it. Click this, bullet list of clicks, to get you through the entire process. You won't need another book. You won't even need a coach if you just followed it, but most people do, most people
Mhm.
want me to show them. I can give you all the dots, but they want me to help connect all of those dots.
It is very helpful. Do you have a class, a course you can tell
I
us about?
Yeah, I what I do is I do a mainly I work with people on my 3-month program, which I keep affordable. I keep what could I afford, And we work 1 day a week for 3 months, wherever they're at. Maybe they're writing, maybe we're doing an editing now, maybe we're getting ready to publish. We got to get the cover made because the cover, this is a book we just came out this week. A cover is a business decision. This is a very cute book. And so we get the right cover. This is the book we did a few months ago, and I love it. I saw her picture and I went, you know what, that has to be your cover. I'm sorry, that is just so beautiful. And we wrapped the covers around to be super beautiful. And so, then we'll work on the covers, we'll work on the interior. I'm a really good developmental editor. I can tell you what's missing and what's not. And then I hope everyone would send it to a real editor because we don't want more bad books. So I have an editor that's very reasonable who will edit people's books. I have a woman who will put it in InDesign and make professional interiors. This one wasn't so hard, so I just did this one myself in a template from Amazon, made it simple, no color pictures, no everything. If you had one color picture, even one little splash, like a drop, you have to double the price of the book, and then not everyone would buy it. And it's great. Amazon gives you 1/3 of the profit. And then I say do it all. It's real estate. Make your um, make your paperback first, wait 3 weeks, then do the ebook because you don't want them to compete for bestseller. You want to get that initial money in the beginning.
Mhm.
And my main reason, I want to get it into your hand. I want my book in people's hands and on their shelves. So then you do the hardcover, and then later on we do the audiobook, and you can get the audiobook done completely free on through Amazon
Wow.
Sister, yeah, ACX. There's a lot to it, but it's not that hard to do if you just do each step at a time.
Mhm. One of the things you mentioned here several times that it strikes me because I do write and I have fun writing. I enjoy doing my newsletters. I'm
Yeah.
sometimes running behind, but that is mostly because of this word that you keep using, and that's editing. I probably over edit. I do a lot of people do that. How
Well,
can we
the main thing you want to
maybe,
write and then edit. Don't let that get in your way. I studied with a guy at Comic-Con for years and years, and he writes a book a month. The way he does it,
wow,
he has this huge whiteboard going across his whole wall, and he's an outliner. I've been a pantser all my life, but I'm becoming an outliner now. And there's an easy way to outline. I should show you in this book. Don't let me forget. And so he writes a book a month, but what he does is he writes from 8 to 4 in the morning, in the morning 8 to noon, and every day. And here's his rules. Now, here's what you do. He doesn't allow himself in those hours to do any editing or research, because I will hide behind editing and research, and I could hear you will too. No, and those hours are pure, unadulterated new writing. If you do 20 minutes of that, that's fine. 2 hours of that. He does 4 hours. And that was like Isaac Asimov wrote those same hours. He didn't say it, but I knew that from my experience and training. And so the main thing is don't do the editing, do it later. And what's funny, you come back and you read it, and it's a lot better than you thought. Now, here's an easy way to start your book. This is what we do in Write Your Short Book in a Day. I just want you to go in, and we're going to make the simplest outline in the world. We're going to, where did I go? Okay. You're going to just go ahead and make a bullet list of the things you want to say. Oh, the day my mom took us to the beach, the day she burnt the turkey. I'm just saying weird things.
right.
And then you want to go back and change the names later, but just write them down. Don't think about them in order. And just 10, 20, and then here's the secret. Pick the easiest one first and write that. and then do the second easiest one, which is middle and whatever. I often start with the end of the book, and there's no rules. Remember that. People tell you there's rules. There's no rules. And you can get Grammarly to help you with the editing right off the bat. You get the
They
free.
use that, yes.
So then you do the third. Pretty soon you're like, I got this. I'm writing this because it's something you know. That's why you can do a 36-page book in a day or two, because you're writing about what you know and it's blathering it on the page, fixing it later. And so then now you've got like 5 chapters done. And then I didn't have good names in the beginning. I went, well, I want to talk about how to build the hype. Okay, then I started thinking of better names, to blog or not to blog, after Shakespeare. And then you come up with snappy names later and the order later, but you start writing now, this very minute.
All right, now you talking about this to get out there and get online and go to the Kindle Direct. Is it pretty helpful? Do you have, like you're saying, you have a course? Do you have a course to help you through with Kindle also? What's the best steps
Yeah.
there?
Well, the best thing to do is sign up with me for 3 months coaching, and then I get you through the whole thing. Okay, like today, I helped 2 people. Okay, click this, click that, click this. Let's go. And we published a book on Monday, and I take you through the whole publishing process. Amazon's pretty easy. It's only got 3 pages. You got to
Okay.
fill in little stuff, but I also teach the class that I'm teaching. I teach about every quarter, write your short book in a day. And I get a lot of people and they love it and they walk away and inspired, and they've done more writing than they've done in years. And some people come back just with their bigger manuscript to write in our dedicated writing time together. I've written 2 books in that class and I'm working on another one right now. So
Excellent.
I do offer that. And then I also do the Cinderella monologues. This is the 3rd edition, and I take people's stories because I was a real Cinderella. I had to do all the housework in my house. And so this is the 3rd edition of women telling their stories from struggle to success. And it really came from my famous grandmother that you know about, Jessie Haber Butler. We kind of brought her in the modern age by doing a Andy Warhol thing on the cover. And then the cover goes around like that. So she was a real Cinderella because she grew up on a cattle ranch in Colorado in a terrible situation. And she had to do all the housework. She had to feed all the ranch hands, and she still got straight A's in school and became valedictorian. And a teacher
Wow.
how yeah, I know. The teacher saw how brilliant she was. She was just so determined. My grandmother was very determined. She helped raise me and got her to Smith College on the East Coast. And I don't know what happened. Then she had a star above her head and all these amazing things. Her first job after Smith was, you're not going to believe this, put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism with one professor in 1911.
Oh,
Then she was sent to DC to set as the first woman lobbyist in DC, to set the first minimum wage for women, if you can imagine, from $4 a week to $8 a week, and to start getting the children out of the factories. And then
that's awesome right there.
I know that right there. And then she worked with Alice Paul and Carrie Chapman Catt to help women get the vote in 1920. And then she went to London, and you'll love this. She spoke all over London with George Bernard Shaw as his speaking partner. And then she came back and taught Eleanor Roosevelt public speaking and thousands of other women. And here's the interesting thing. And Eleanor would say, hey, Jesse, just bring the whole class over to the White House today and we'll rehearse together. Can you imagine, before guards and
Could you
protocols were
imagine?
set up? I know. But here's
Oh,
the thing she did. You know how we're all writing our book and showing our expertise and selling it? She wrote a book called Time to Speak Up in 1946. And she had
1946.
yeah. Yeah, and imagine this. I did this book and I read it, but afterwards COVID hit and I had to reinvent myself, and I started teaching people how to write their expert book and sell it and speak from it and do all that. Well, I didn't realize until I reread the book later that Jessie did the same thing in 1946. She wrote a book, Time to Speak Up, and she went and spoke all over the US in front of 200 to 2,000 people at every stop and sold her book like hotcakes. So she did what I'm teaching now. She showed her expertise right off the bat. And that was 1946 before you and me and all these people now even thought of doing it.
Mhm. And when you said that year, that's the first thing I thought about because that was in a lot of the times when people were writing books and a few were getting recognition. But here's another person, your grandmother, that is doing this. Nothing, and your grandmother did awesome. I've read so much about her, like you're saying, and to work with Eleanor Roosevelt is just awesome. But what I'm hearing you say also is just about like your course. Anyone else could do this. Here she is, 1946, writing about the things that are still top of the news today about women, about fairness, about equality, about achieving unity. And there she was, 1946, doing this
In
for others.
1920, she was there for the vote in 1920.
Wow.
And here's the other thing, she worked with Alice Paul, and Alice Paul, I would have thought was like the hippie of the generation. She had come from a very, but she wasn't. She came from a very wealthy Quaker family, and she
Okay.
went to London, and she graduated with a PhD in economics from London School of Economics, and came back and started working for women, and had a house across the street from the White House, to the dismay of the president, of course. And she had this cafeteria in her house, and she'd feed all the women who were, picketing and doing all that. And Jessie didn't want to join her because she was too radical, but she worked with Carrie Chapman Catt, who was the parliamentarian, and Jessie was the lobbyist going into the Capitol every day. She had to get all the men to vote for it, and they were gruff and they
Right.
were mean to her at first, but then they all became her friends because she was really good at diplomacy. And so she helped the women get the right to vote. She was the third woman. It was like Carrie Chapman Catt and Alice Paul and my grandmother were the main three women.
That is so impressive. You've come from a lot of what you built and what you're doing. It seems like that has truly maybe built a foundation for you, help to build the structure that you're working from. Is that right? I mean, from what you've
Yeah, yeah,
seen and heard?
yeah, her early 90s to inspire us all. She still had a career, and she spoke in Hollywood all the time with Gloria Steinem and Marlo Thomas. And I have pictures of her with Gloria in this book, and I have invitations with Eleanor and all kinds of things in here. And she spoke, and she took me along, and that's when I got a spark that I wanted to be a public speaker. And I wasn't very good at first. They put me on the speech team. She got me on the speech team at my college, and I failed. I wasn't good. And then but from speaking, that's another thing I really teach people is, now you've got your book, let's go find stages and speak about your expertise. And every time I speak, I get a client for that reason. And so then
Congratulations.
thing, and so then she um she had her career till 94, and then she let her secretary go at 94 and went senile, and then finally died at 98. So just to inspire us all that, some of us are just getting going here.
Mhm. Well, that's what I'm saying. You've got all this background, such deep tradition that you'll share with us in this course. If we take your course, you'll be able to share all that information with us and help us take that first step going forward.
Yeah, and it's all
So tell
about
us,
unmuzzling your tongue to speak. It's everybody can be confident. She had these 10 tips, and they're very much like Toastmasters, which I suggest everyone join. It really is a great way to unravel your tongue. It's just you want to just build your confidence, and I always say the more you speak, the more you speak, and then she has rules that you wouldn't. They're very simple, but you wouldn't imagine. One of them is, don't ever memorize your speech. Memorizing a speech is death to a speech. Have a bullet list. That's what she did. And then just to remind yourself of the points you want to make, because you already know your material. The other one that will really surprise you, speak your speech out loud before you hit the podium, at least once, but probably more, because I didn't one time and my voice surprised me and I failed completely. I will never do that again.
that's how we learn. And so all these things you're talking about, is that pretty much coming from your modular book concept? This is,
Yes. Oh, yeah, my modular book. Okay. So let's say it's because the more books you have on Amazon, Mark, the more it builds your algorithms. So let's say I have this book. Okay. Maybe I made it a 36-page book. Then you make it 73, because 73 pages, you can put your name on the spine. There's finally room for your name and title. But most
Right.
people are opting to do the comfortable 120-page book. So here's the difference. Here's 120 compared to 70 pages. And
All right.
so, and then 120 to 135-page book. But let's say you really have a lot more to say and you want to put in some diagrams, you want to do all this other things you want to put in, then you would, the most we're doing now are 200, 250-page books, because we're not doing missionary anymore. We're not doing the 500-page books. So let's say you do your 36-page book, your 73-page book, your 125-page book, and now your 200-page book. You've got 4 books out of 1 book.
Amazing. That is amazing. And it's, Mila, it's awesome to hear about you and how even yourself, you've successfully reinvented yourself in ways, especially during the pandemic. You moved your in-person classes online. What was that process like? And what did you learn about yourself along the way?
A lot. Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't even know Zoom or anything, and COVID hit. Okay, COVID hit in March 2020, the day, the month this book came out. And I thought I'd be speaking all over DC where she worked, London where she worked, California where I live, and I couldn't go anywhere. And so I thought, oh my gosh. So I sat and I started taking classes. I started with Iman, a guy of all people I met right away. And he trained me on how to start a course online. And I had been teaching at a school for adults. I had 24 computers in a room, and it was great. I taught how to sell on Etsy and eBay. I taught speaking. I taught public social media, writing, all kinds of things. And I couldn't do that anymore. And so I started reinventing myself pretty fast online, and with guidance from every mentor I could think of. And then I wanted to speak about my book, so I started speaking right away. I found out there were these podcasts all over the world that were looking for speakers, and now there's more podcasters coming up, as you know. And so I spoke in India, Brazil, England, Spain.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was speaking everywhere suddenly. And I went, I never knew I could do that. I was so excited. And I was already a speaker. And usually those are interviews. So, if for speaking, everyone, if you get a choice like on the summit between an interview and just a talk, take the interview, because it's more interesting to the listeners, but also it will really build your confidence, because you're not just up there alone, kind of like what you and I are doing right now. And but anyway, I reinvented myself completely. I started teaching write your short book in a day right away. And then I started teaching a 12-week course that would turn into a a a book. So that was fun. And then my Cinderella monologues came, because I was writing my own memoir called Cinderella Monologues. And then I realized all these women were telling me their stories. And I went, wow, I think I should make it into a book of lots of women's stories. So now my memoir is called Cinderella Interrupted, after that movie, and then, but
Cinderella interrupted. Yeah.
yeah, it's Cinderella Interrupted, because that's what happened to me. And I grew up in gangland, believe it or not, but I stayed out of trouble because I had to do 4 hours of work a day, and my mother didn't think boys should. And so all he had to do is half-hour a week, take out the trash and mow the little track home lawn. And so he ended up in a gang, and he later died on the street. But I
I'm
made
sorry.
it out, just strong worker, let's go. And when my husband found me and put me on the ranch, he'd say, "Hey, go out there and drive tractor for 8 hours." Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Oh, we're gonna pack for 14 hours. Oh, okay. I mean, I was just like, that's who I was. So he lucked out in that sense. We're still married. We just had our 46th anniversary this month.
Congratulations. That's
Yeah, thank you,
beautiful.
thank you. But anyway, so the thing is, it things turn out for a reason. And my grandmother was always there for me. She always took me under her wing, and when I didn't have food, she'd feed me. And she was lovely. She was who my mother wasn't always available. She was very sick, and she's a teacher, and she'd go to bed at 5, and I had to give my brother dinner. But my grandmother was always there for me.
Oh, I'm glad you had that. That's so helpful. Well, tell me, they talk about the imposter syndrome. Tell me more about that, and how many for it's It's devastating for many people to think about themselves being an author. How does your coaching methodology help writers overcome that feeling that I'm not a real author? How do you help people down that path?
Poof, you are a real author. My speaking class is called Poof, you're a speaker. Because,
I like that.
I think mainly anything we wanna do in life, we need to start and we need to do it. I've seen people come up from nothing. I mean, well, I'm one of them. And I was so shy when I was in high school, I wouldn't talk to people. I was like, "Yeah." And when my grandmother introduced me to Gloria Steinem, I shook her hand, but I was kinda I wasn't confident then, you know what I'm saying? And through friends and speaking in college and college helped me come out. But I think the main thing about anybody is to start. And once you start, I've heard of a lot of women, especially women, starting to speak and then they realize they can and they realize someone laughed at them and someone came up and shook their hand and said that was great, we needed to hear your story. And if you just right now in the beginning talk about your story, what you know, and don't try to be anyone else and just be yourself. And because the easiest thing right now, everybody's kind of friendly, happy, chatty, kind of like this, and that's what everybody wants and they're writing that way. This book, my book is so you want to be a writer or you're thinking about being a writer, well, let's start today. I mean, we're talking like that in the books, unless you're doing like a psychology book or a trauma book, which a trauma is the biggest subject right now. I'm working with like 8 people on writing books about trauma, their own trauma, or their doctors helping people with trauma. It's just a big subject. So, and
It is.
I didn't realize it was big at all, and I'm sure you know about it. But anyway, so
And where could
so
people?
the main thing is start. And you know what? I've always said that, and they've written all these articles about me, about 100 over the years, and I used to run this children's theater company. Those are all my plays and musicals behind me, 22 of them that I wrote.
Wow.
And they would interview me all the time, and I'd say, "Well, I just started. I didn't know what I was doing." And so they'd always make the title, and I have pictures of it on my PowerPoint, "Just Start," pictures of my articles. They always would say, "Just do it," or just start. So that's my best advice. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. Everyone told me I couldn't do anything. And I always felt like even though I had no food when I was young, I always felt like I was bigger than life and I could do anything and I would give. That's my secret superpower. I gave even when I had nothing. I would give the apple to the kid or I would, whatever it was. And because of that, I became super powerful and super abundant. And when I got to the ranch, Rich said, I said, "Well, you got so much fruit, we gotta give it away," because I was so poor as a kid, right? He said, "No, Mila, we don't give it away, we sell it." But I've went out and we give 10 to 20,000 pounds a year to the food bank for the last 20 years.
Wow. That's awesome.
So the more you
That-
give, the more you'll build your abundance.
Amazing. Your life itself is amazing. Let's talk about something though, to get on the back to the book side. I just love your grandmother. I'd love to hear more and more about her. But let's talk about sort of audiobooks. I listen to Audible. I was listening to mine this morning, his course book. That's what I was listening to as I was walking
Oh,
this
really?
morning. Mhm. It's on Audible. But so tell us more about audiobooks with what you're doing
Mhm.
with the Kindle book publishing. How does that all work?
Okay, here's my okay, don't listen to anyone else. Only listen to me on the schedule.
Okay.
Because everyone's telling you, right? They're telling you to do your ebook first. Well, don't do that. They're saying because you'll become a bestseller. Well, guess what? The secret is, and they're not telling you because they're asking for this huge amount of money, is that you have to do your ebook first to become a bestseller. No, you can become a bestseller with an ebook a month down the road, 3 months down the road, 3 years down the road. I do it all the time. My books are always #1 bestseller as soon as I focus on them in the ebook. So you want to do your paperback first because you want that book to be in people's hands on the shelves, and that's where you're going to make your initial money to pay for your coach or editing or whatever. Then you wait 3 weeks at least, maybe a month, and then you do your ebook and your hardcover at the same time. And I say do it all because it's real estate. So you do your ebook and your hardcover, and then you start advertising your ebook like crazy and say to people, even if you bought my regular book, buy my ebook to help me become a bestseller. Then I have the secret in my book that you're all going to get called The Fussy Librarian. And I always become #1 when I do the free giveaway in that. And people say, well, I don't want to give away my book. Well, by now you do. Your book's stalled. Get some readers. I know one woman, she's a mentor of mine. I love all her classes. But she has a series, again, Cozy Women's Mystery. And every time she does Fussy Librarian, the thing in the book I tell you about, she sells 5,000 books. That's not you or me. I will sell a few extra books, but I have people reading my book, talking about my book, asking me to speak. And so you want to do that. And then audiobook. Audiobook, you can start as soon as you have an ebook. You have to have an ebook to do an
Okay, so it's
audiobook.
ebook, audiobook. Help us out. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Ebook is the book you put online that people could read online, and it's electronic. It comes through the cloud, so it's not,
Mhm.
can't hold it. And the audio,
Right. So that goes,
audiobooks.
like you're saying, sorry to interrupt you, but that goes
Sure.
back to your Kindle. That's you're reading it through Kindle on your ebook, right?
Well, okay, I don't have Kindle, and a lot of people don't, but you can read the
Okay.
ebook on your computer or phone without Kindle.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, but that's how it
I
works.
don't know that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, there's 2 kinds of, ebooks. Ebooks are a lot harder to do than the paperback, by the way, so you gotta get someone who can help you with that. I'm not gonna go into that today. But the audiobook though, see, KDP is connected to a thing called ACX. Can't remember what it stands for, but anyway, so if you have your Prime account, that's a website, your Kindle account, that's a website, and ACX. They all 3 have the same password again. So,
Okay.
but
Same.
you can go on to ACX. I give a whole class. In fact, I sell the class already recorded on my website, milajohansen.com, and you can get that. And I go blow by blow how you can do your ebook for free. I mean, your audiobook for free. And you find readers, you audition them, and there's a lot of people who want to do it. We have the best readers, a beautiful reader for the Cinderella monologues, and she's working on the 3rd book
Oh,
right now. And so you can find these readers that will, some people want a lot of money. You have to be careful. They want 400 a finished hour, and and this book here is 7 hours, so that would be a lot of money, right? Some people want
right.
200, some want 50, but many people, and you have to go through them because some of them are substandard and some of them are really good, will do it for royalty share. And for audiobook you get 40% royalty, and then you give them 20% and you take 20%, but they'll do it for free. A lot of people I know want to read their own book, and that is a really hard, like, I think you could do it, Mark, because you have a setup and a mic, and it would be easy to do. And then all you do is upload it to there and you'll get the 40%. But most people don't have a really good mic system or a way to record their voices. So, and a lot of
Well,
people aren't great readers is another thing. But you can. I mean, that you can do, my class goes through it all.
yeah. Well, thank you for the compliment. But I mean, I do have the audio work and things like that, but to sit and read a book, I joke with it. And Dr. L, a friend of ours, we joked about this the other day. Some of us have what's called ADC, used to be called ADD. It's the Attention Deficit Challenge. To sit and read a book,
Uh-huh.
that's challenging for people, a lot of people. So I would still, it's fun to do this and it's fun to talk, but to read a chapter at a time, and maybe with through audio, with your knowledge, maybe you could help me how to see how to do that. But to put an audio book together and to read that much sounds like a challenge.
And you have to edit it. There's quite a few considerations. I would suggest auditioning. One time I did for this book. Wait, well, one of my books, I got 22 auditions for the book. Sometimes you only get 3,
Wow.
depending how popular the book is. Like, my books are pretty popular because I've got one about dogs, things like that. But but
You have
but
a nice background. You have enough nice foundation to work from that I think a lot of us want to know more about know more about later. But
yeah, yeah.
you've done a lot of great work.
Yeah, and what you do is you just audition these people, you get a reader, and And then hopefully they come through and you check. You have to read it all yourself. You have to listen to the whole thing yourself to make sure everything was pronounced right. There's a little bit to it, but guess what? I've got 3 audiobooks out now, and I had a really good reader from our group, Justine Reese. She did this book for me.
That is amazing. And to talk about these books that are 36, 72 pages long, producing them, creating an income, right?
Yes.
May not be much, but every little bit helps.
I think more
That's
than
great.
the income from the books for people like you and me who teach and coach is every time someone sees my book or hears me speak, or people want to sign up with me to help them do it too. And so I think
That's awesome.
sometimes the real money in there for entrepreneurs is through garnering coaching clients.
That is so true. And you've done so much and helped so many. And thank you so much. But we have about 5 minutes left. So in closing and helping people, you've talked to us a lot about great things. Talked to us about your course. Get them to the Kindle, the KDB. Get that right?
Yeah. And so
And
I'll be doing my
how
classic.
do KDP publishing? How do we get a hold of you? What's the next step? What do we do? And tell us about what we need to do next in the
Well,
process.
if you're not already in KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, go join it today. But remember, you want to do your main email with your Prime. Don't make a new one. And then sign up. And then they're going to ask you for a debit card because they want to know where to put your money later. And then once you're in, you can go up to KDP University and get templates and type your book right into it or copy it and dump it right into it. And there's tutorials like crazy. And also, there's so many tutorials on YouTube for any aspect you want to know about. They'll show you blow by blow how to do everything. And so join KDP, even if you're not going to publish for a few months or a year, just so you can use the attributes. That's my first suggestion. The next suggestion, put your pen on your page, your fingers on the keyboard and write. Don't even think about all the other things. Let's get it written down, because once you have it written down, then you'll be inspired to go and dig up all the information for all the other aspects, And then I am teaching my class, Write Your Short Book in a Day. And that's always on my website, milajohansen.com. So join the next one.
MilaJohansen.com.
Replay. If you can't end up coming, there's a replay and you can do it through the replay. And then I have all kinds of classes there. And I have my 3-month coaching program on there too.
Excellent. Mila, thank you so much. Wow. What an incredible podcast with Mila Johansen. And you can contact her at milajohansen.com right on the internet. Mila's passion for simplifying and empowering self-publishing hope has inspired us all. It has inspired me to start writing and putting what we know out for others, because there's others that want to know it also. Our own stories, whether it's a short book or the dream of a lifetime. Mila's tips and her easy 1, 2, 3 philosophy hope it's reminded all of us that with a little action and probably a lot of heart, we can achieve unity in our goals and make a positive impact with our own book, a book about our life and what we can do going forward. To connect with Mila and explore her coaching further, which I hope you will do, as I will do, visit her website at milajohansen.com. It's milajohansen.com, milajohansen.com. And look up her name on social media. Just do a search. Whatever search engine you use, go out there and just type in her name, Mila Johansen, book. See what you can find. There's a lot of information about her on the internet. That's the exciting part. Thank you for joining us. Let's keep reaching for your dreams, your life, and your successes, and write a book to share. Share your unity with others. Mila, again, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. You've helped me out already, even though I knew a lot. What you've done. Any closing comments?
Well, no, thank you for having me. I'm honored, and I want everybody to write their book and become a published author.
I think we all should, and I'm going to take that challenge. I'm going to say that you've challenged me today and to take mine that one step further, because what you do with that book, you're reaching others. And by reaching others, you're building that unity. And unity is not just an ideal. Unity, as you're saying, is a success strategy. It is a daily choice, whether it be one sentence, one thought, one action, to lead with empathy, helping yourself, helping others, acting with integrity, and be able to uplift others along the way, as you have done, Mila. It's a service that we can give for free as we gain so much for ourselves. People sometimes throw up a block wall, something giving for free, it helps us. Mila talked about it, giving her book away as it has helped others and it helped her. So anything we've talked about today that I've shared, anything that's resonate with you, follow that feeling. Reach out and connect with me at markintrican.com, realityfocus.com, achievingunity.com. Look my name up on the internet. But as we've been inspired by the influence and the recognition that Mila Johansen has brought to us today in her message, contact with Mila. Again, milajohansen.com on the internet, through her website, look up her course. Just quickly, when is your next course, Mila?
On September 20th, this coming Saturday. I don't know if that applies to everybody here. We'll be doing Write Your Short Book in a Day. And after that, I'm going to be offering a Poof, You're a Speaker class, because I go through the entire thing on how to start speaking, where to find gigs, and I even go through the the um, the lights and cameras and all the equipment you will need to look good on screen.
That is excellent. Sometimes we think it's chaos, and it's not. But talking to people like you, poof, we can be an author. And by contacting you. Again, milajohansen.com. Please go out there. Until next time, let's keep transforming that chaos into connection. Let us continue achieving unity. www.achievingunity.com, or call me. Get focused. 303 focused. 303-362-8733. Because we can stay focused on writing our book and turning all of that chaos into connection as we achieve unity by harnessing the power of encouraging, inspiring, and including others in building better businesses, better books, better lives, and a better world. Life is truly what we make it. So let's make it awesome together in unity. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Mila. It's great having you here. Great talking with you. You've truly inspired my day. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
thanks for your message, helping others, your time, and your commitment. It's certainly appreciated. Hope to see you all again here next week. Till then, cheers.